Hello, dear listener. I'm your host, Tyke, and today my guest is a Swedish-Iranian serial entrepreneur building in Web3 since 2021. Danosch, tell me who you are and what you do.
My name is Danosch. I've been building businesses since I was 17 years old. I started my first business back in Sweden at that time. But I've also tried a few stints doing corporate jobs, which I realized wasn't really for me. I'm more of an entrepreneurial person. I like to build businesses where there's not really any limitation to what you can and cannot do. The last business that I successfully sold was ArtsDAO, which became the leading Web3 community out here in Dubai, which has now taken on a new management, a new team, and new leadership, and has a super exciting journey ahead. And I've joined TheBlock back in January, which is the new kind of ecosystem out of Dubai for any virtual assets. We're working closely with the regulators, with the government, with a lot of the big institutions, with a lot of the big players in the crypto space to create an ecosystem where companies can find anything that they need to grow, whether it's licensing, whether it's events, whether it's access to the right people. So we're creating that infrastructure that powers the whole ecosystem.
So you're a free spirit.
I would say, yeah.
What were the first startups or businesses that you had, and which industry were they in mainly?
So the first company that I started was actually with two friends back in Sweden. So we were 17 and we realized that students are underserved when it comes to discounts. What we did was we created this discount card, went to cafes, restaurants, airlines, and had them sponsor different pages of this card and handed them out to students around the city. Obviously, that was not a massively profitable business. And then I decided to continue with studies.
By the way, what did you graduate from?
I studied business management in London at Cass Business School, and I also did a master's in entrepreneurship and business development in Sweden.
So were always next to the entrepreneurial path.
Yeah, so what happened was when I graduated in London, it was 2009, and I was very much influenced by the people in London, by the bankers. I thought investment banking is the coolest thing to be in, a quick way to make a lot of money. And in 2009, you had the financial crisis and everything collapsed, and Lehman Brothers was firing thousands of people. So it was really the wrong time for me to start applying for any jobs. And I thought, okay, what I really want to do is become an entrepreneur. And I found this course in Sweden at Lund University where you could actually try to be an entrepreneur while studying. And unlike any other masters, it was 1 year, it was not 2 years. And I absolutely hate to study. So that's what I decided to do.
And then you entered the corporate world.
And then, yes, I actually started my second business while I was studying. We were helping a few clinics in Sweden to start from scratch. So we were doing all the imports for all their equipment. But what we realized was that we were so cheap that at the end of the year, there was not a lot of margin to keep us going. Up until then, we had actually done a pretty good job. But that's around the same time when I kind of got in touch with P&G. They had a great opportunity in sales, and I wanted to do sales. And I thought, why not? It's one of the best companies in the world to kind of start with. And that's how I ended up with it.
Can you give me a brief description of how did corporate turn into Web3?
So because I graduated in 2009, I started getting very deep into the financial system to understand, okay, gold is a great hedge against inflation. I started believing that we're going to enter into a massive period of inflation. I was a bit ahead of myself. I had a property actually in Sweden. I put all that money into gold. I sold my property because I thought the property markets are going to collapse. It was the worst decision that I could have done because property was the best performing asset, at least in Sweden. And then gold was literally the worst performing asset class globally for the next few years. Then I discovered Bitcoin in 2013, and I was like, wow, this is a very cool technology. And maybe I should just take out all of my gold and put all my money into Bitcoin. But, obviously with the past track record on my investments, I was talked out of it. So I actually decided in the end to not put my money in there, which later on, of course, I regretted. But in 2016, yeah, it was one of the most stupid decisions of my life.
Nothing, like
Nothing, zero.
not even a small percentage.
Zero. And then I just saw how the train was like taking off and going from 100 to 300 to 3,000. And in 2016, I got in. And then in 2021, I met with Anas. I was like, hey, you're a crypto lawyer and I'm in crypto. All my friends come to me for advice. All your friends come to you for advice. Why don't we start a crypto podcast where we start educating people? And that's how the idea of the crypto shakes came about. And through that, we met with NFT artists, had a first meetup to meet with like-minded people. And from that first meetup of 10 people, 2 weeks later, we were 30 people. And then 2 months later, we were 200. And then it just like snowballed and ArtsDAO started to take shape. And we incorporated a company and organized more than 50 events with big brands, with communities, organized 2 big festivals. We did a trip to Colombia that turned into Amazon Prime documentary. We launched the first ever NFT treasury in the Middle East, where we, together with the community, started collecting blue chip NFTs. We did special collaborations with brands like Ledger, where we did limited edition collections.
Wait, there's too much. I want more details.
Sure.
Let's go a little back.
All right.
Who is Anas?
So Anas Burton, he is a good friend. He's also the co-founder of ArtsDAO. And he, prior to that, was working corporate. So he was working at checkout.com. And I said, look, why don't you just give up your boring job and you come and do something actual fun? So after like a few months, I was able to convince him and he quit his job and took a lot of risk. And then, we started the journey of building ArtsDAO.
Before ArtsDAO, you had a podcast.
Yes.
Give me more details on the podcast, please.
Yeah, so it was called the Crypto Shakes podcast. What we did was we started to break down the different concepts of crypto. What is a blockchain? What is Bitcoin? What is Ethereum? We then decided to start inviting guests. So we had a lot of cool guests on the podcast. But then when ArtsDAO started kicking off, we really didn't have any time to do anything else. So we had to give that up, which was really a shame.
You could say that ArtsDAO came about as a result of you doing the podcast, doing the meetups, gathering people around. Is that it?
Absolutely, 100%.
Okay. And then you launched the community in the Middle East. And
we never launched it, People think that we started the community. We didn't start the community. The community just happened by itself. The reason why we wanted to meet with people was to learn more about NFTs. That was a genuine meetup, and that was organized actually by Diane, who is one of the other co-founders in the company. So, those first interactions was just us seeking more information and connecting with like-minded people. And then people loved it. So we organized another one. And then we ended up having a community which we hadn't even planned to have, and we ended up being event organizers, which we had never been in our lives. So everything just happened by a coincidence and accident, but it was a fun coincidence.
And then you exited recently, right?
Yes. So we sold the company to a venture studio called 021 earlier this year. They expressed interest to acquire ArtsDAO, and what they wanted to do was essentially build out the membership model, build out a clubhouse. We had already gone through like 3 years of struggles with ArtsDAO, 3 years of, really, really suffering and having a lot of challenges to build a business. So when this opportunity came, we thought it was a fantastic opportunity to just, pass on the business to someone else. Once that happened, I also got approached by someone called Farbod. He had an idea of building out this whole ecosystem together with Dubai World Trade Center for regulated virtual asset companies. And from those initial conversations, we then decided to join forces and build what is now TheBlock.
We're finally at the point to talk about TheBlock. Tell me what it is, what problem it solves, who it helps.
Sure. So think of TheBlock as a as a growth partner for companies. So any company that is either already in Web3 or looking to enter into Web3, they can come to TheBlock. And the problem that we solve for them is multiple. One is we work very closely with the regulators. So we have a compliance team that helps companies get VARA licenses, helps them get ADGM licenses, or even MiCA or SEC licenses. Secondly, once you have your license, you might need funding. So we can connect you with more than 100 different types of VCs, investors, family offices that we have in our investor circle. Third part is once you have your license and you have funding, it's time to grow. So when you grow, it's really important to build your brand awareness. So we're now opening up 2 very big physical spaces in Dubai. Both of these places are a place for crypto companies and individuals to come, collaborate, connect, and build businesses together and find opportunities. The Experience Center is really cool because at the Experience Center, this is where Binance, OKX, all the big companies already are in one central. And we got a ground floor unit. So we're the only ones that have a retail unit where you can throw events. So on that retail unit, it's literally going to be the hub of crypto in Dubai. So that's where you can, build your brand awareness, build your presence, and then media, right? So we have a media and PR arm. We already have a few clients that we're helping with PR to build their presence in the region and also globally in crypto and outside of crypto. But we're focusing entirely on Web3 companies. We do a lot of tokenization projects. So we help companies that want to tokenize to get access to all the right partners, whatever that is. We help them A to Z, even with the tech infrastructure.
Are you operating? So from what you said Vara, ADGM, and even MiCA. So it's not only limited to
the
UAE.
No.
It's global.
Yeah, I would say we're a global company. We have people in the US, in Canada, in the UK, in Austria, currently working for us. And we're also now expanding our footprint to Korea. So I'm actually traveling there next week for Korea Blockchain Week to sign on one of our new partners in Korea.
That's huge. I mean, TheBlock seems to be a connector for anyone wishing to launch something in Web3, no matter if you're looking for a license or not.
Exactly. That's a very good way to describe it.
But I have a question. Sure. Turns out you're building a physical space.
Yes.
Right? Two spaces, you said.
Yeah.
And ArtsDAO is doing a clubhouse.
Yes.
Can they be considered competitors at this point?
Look, we don't consider anyone as a competitor. We believe that this space is big enough that there is room for everyone to grow. ArtsDAO is a very much community-focused business, really focused on individuals and the value that each individual brings to the table, and really connecting with people. Yes, we have a space as well, but having a space is not really competing in the same sense. I do believe that there are some people that are going to be part of ArtsDAO, we're going to be part of TheBlock as well. TheBlock is not, we're not selling any individual memberships. We are focusing on businesses and the individuals within those businesses. So ArtsDAO definitely has a role in the overall ecosystem to play, and TheBlock has a different role to play.
It's rather a partner than a competitor.
Absolutely.
They are doing B2C, you're doing B2B, so it's totally different markets. And sure. Then what are you trying to achieve with TheBlock, and what are the main challenges you face on the way?
We really want to become the go-to place for any company that is looking to do anything related to tokenization. That is one of our biggest focuses right now. We're speaking to a lot of companies in the US. They want to tokenize land. They want to tokenize mines. They want to tokenize gemstones. We recently announced a big gold mining project in Canada. It's a $2.5 billion project that we're helping to tokenize. Now we are proposing some very interesting things when it comes to tokenizing real estate here in the UAE to the government. So we're working closely with the regulators to advise them on what can be improved, One of the challenges and bottlenecks is banking. Still, there's very few banks that crypto companies can use. So this is also something that we're trying to change. So the biggest objective for us is to really make crypto usable, make blockchain usable, and have use cases that we can show that have been successful, and to show that the UAE is the #1 place for any company to come and build from. But of course, we're not limited to being here, but we want to be a flag bearer for this country.
Want to be a flag bearer for this country. That's powerful.
Well, we believe that this country has given us so much, and now it's time for us to also give back and grow synergistically with Dubai and with the 2030 vision.
From the challenges, the one challenge that I got was some limitations with the banking. I don't know if there is someone you want to connect with to overcome those challenges, maybe.
I think from that point of view, we got it pretty covered. We are the connector, so there's rarely someone that we cannot get hold of, at least in this country. I wouldn't say we know everyone in the world. We still have people that we don't know, but we can access most people in Web3.
In that case, who would you like to connect with?
His Highness Sheikh Mohammed. I would love to meet with him one day. And
Okay.
it's a person that I have a lot of respect for. He's done something that no one else has even widely imagined would be possible. Some believe there's a conspiracy that, there were certain powers that wanted this country to grow. I don't believe in that. I believe it was truly the vision, the dedication, and the execution of the leaders of this country. And I have a lot of respect for that.
You're leaving me with no choice. I mean, that covers all the questions. Yeah. He's definitely a leader you would love to meet, because there's so much to learn just by, spending some time with him. I bet you'll gain a lot of wisdom.
Yeah.
Summing everything up, I would really love to ask you about the single most important thing you learned throughout this journey that you would like to share with us.
The single most important thing I learned is that, sometimes entrepreneurs, they really persist for the sake of persisting, because there's this whole mindset that you need to push. And while that is super important, you also need to sometimes be realistic that if you're on the wrong track, you need to change your track, you need to pivot, or at least consult with people that are smarter than you and always get their input on whether what you're doing is the right thing. And sometimes, even if you've done a lot of losses, you invested a lot of money, sometimes it's better to cut your losses and get out rather than incur more.
I see. Okay. Thank you for your time, Danosch. Thank you for the wisdom and for the details.
My pleasure. It was a pleasure to be here.
Same. I will attach links to find Danosch in the description. Leave your comments for him below, and I'll see you in the next episode.